Hi, Writing 250. Welcome to the final unit of the course. I know that you're all so excited to be here. The research prospectus was the biggest project that you'll have to do in this class. Depending on how comfortable you are with things like PowerPoint and Prezi, this unit might end up being kind of a breeze for you. However, I don't say that to, encourage you to think of this as kind of an afterthought project or something that's not important. It does carry a good amount of weight in the course. But all you're basically doing is taking the written research prospectus that you just turned in and turning it into a multimodal presentation. When you think about the word multimodal, multi meaning several, modal meaning modes of communication, right? So you're going to try and present the information using more than just a written mode. You're going to have to come up with some kind of presentation tool and a presentation itself. Some things to keep in mind. Remember that your research prospectus was written to an audience that looked kind of like a hypothetical committee on campus that had money to give to students to conduct big research projects. And you were writing your research prospectus for that committee to convince them to give you the money and the support to carry out the project. With your PowerPoint presentation or your Prezi presentation for the multimodal, you're basically just taking that same information and turning it into a presentation. So you're utilizing a presentation tool like PowerPoint or Prezi, you're utilizing voice, and you're utilizing written text in the actual presentation tool itself. So keep all of those elements in mind. You're still speaking to that same audience. You still have the same purpose in mind, which is to convince that audience that you deserve the money and the support to conduct your research project. You're just doing it in a different kind of way. Now, a couple of things for you to keep in mind. If you've never used Prezi before, I do recommend that you give it a shot. In the unit, you have some links to handouts on how to use PowerPoint, how to use Prezi, how to do it dynamically, how to do it well. And there are also going to be some examples online that you can look at that are actually very dynamic. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them just by Googling good PowerPoint presentation or good PowerPoint example or good Prezi example. That way you can kind of see what is effective. But think about when you've been given a PowerPoint lecture in a class or at a meeting. When there's too much text on the screen, when the professor reads from the screen, all of that's not very useful. So you want to utilize a kind of a good rule of thumb is to do no more than 10 slides, no more than 30 words on each slide. Now, you're absolutely not going to be able to get everything that you need to get onto a slide, and that's not the purpose of the presentation tool. The presentation tool is there only to hammer down really important points and to help the presenter as he or she gives the presentation. So you only want what's necessary there. You don't need to include all of the text. You don't need to include a lot of bullet points. A good rule of thumb, like I said, is no more than 30 words per slide and no more than 10 slides of information. Beyond that, and you're going to kind of bog your audience down. Okay, so look at some good examples online. I will try and secure a good student example for you. You can either record your voice giving the presentation and send it to me, or you can use the notes section in PowerPoint or Keynote if you're a Mac person. You can use the notes section at the bottom of the page to type out your text, and that doesn't need to be copied and pasted from your research prospectus. It needs to be in more conversational language. So in this case, using I is good. Using contractions is fine. Saying things like in conclusion is fine because it'll signal to your audience that you're almost done. So more conversational, less formal kind of language that still communicates the importance of the work that you're doing. Okay. If you've got any questions, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to try and get you your research prospectus grades back soon and start working on those presentations. Don't forget, no more than 10 slides. No more than 30 words per slide. Include your text in the PowerPoint presentation or Keynote presentation. Don't use too much like fancy background stuff or animation or anything like that. Simple is always better. All right, so any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to seeing your presentations.